Hey, Terry, obviously Jake was lights out in Game 1 against the Dodgers. Then Game 5, he really had to battle. Could you contrast what he had in those two outings and how impressive maybe Game 5 was, even if he didn't have the stuff he had in Game 1?
Well, we've talked about it several times about how impressive he was to work so hard and get us deep into the game like he did. He had to really mix pitches, and when he had to make a big pitch, he made a big pitch. And that's why I think, this guy is really moving himself up the ladder as one of the elite guys in the game, because that's something that's hard to teach. That's ingrained in your system that, hey, look, I got to do it now and make the pitch when in big situations.
And straight back in the center. Here.
Hey, Terry, last night before the game you said you hadn't seen Harvey. How's his arm, and is he a go for Game 5 if there's a Game 5?
He's pretty sore and pretty swelled up. He is, as we sit here today, is a go. That can certainly change in the next couple of days. He's on his way here, I think, now to get some treatment. But I was pretty surprised at how swelled up it was yesterday. So we certainly are going to keep a real close eye on it the next couple of days.
What's the alternative?
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, we've got them. We obviously have alternatives with, Bartolo and John. So we've got, if we need to, put a spot starter in there, we certainly have them.
Barry, let other people have a turn. Last one, and then you're done.
Same subject. When you say the swelling, is it discolored? And
yeah.
How big is the swelling? You said there were stitches on his arm yesterday.
Well, when you have swelling, it doesn't matter how big it is; it's just there. So it's led this. Anytime you have swelling, it leads to stiffness, and so when as stiff as he was yesterday, we're going to be careful.
Another question for Terry. Ken, right here in the center.
Terry, do you feel like this is something that could impact Matt's schedule down the road, or is it a matter of he needs a few days?
Yeah, Ken, I don't think it's going to affect him down the road. I think, but down the road's still 3 days away. So, we'll just have to see how he is. I think the big time will be tomorrow because that would be a day that he wants to throw anyway. So, we'll have to make our judgments how he feels after tomorrow.
And all the way in the back right.
Terry back here. The Cubs are both a good club on the home and on the road all season. Do you anticipate them being any different in this ballpark than they were in New York?
Oh, sure. There's no question about it. They're any team that's got good power, this is a good place to play. And they've got it. I mean, we watch the games where, they walk up there and they're hitting balls opposite field, right and left. There's no safe place in this park. So certainly there'll be a different, in the weather will be different. It's not going to be 38 degrees. It's going to be a lot warmer. And so we certainly understand the dynamics of it all. But, we look at our lineup and we think we got some power too. And playing in Citi Field in that kind of weather negates a little bit of that. So I know there'll be a different club here.
And straight back on the right.
Terry, can you identify ways in which your pitching coach, Dan Worthen, has really impacted your staff, particularly his fingerprints on the young pitchers you have?
Well, first of all, Danny does a tremendous job. He's pretty complete. He's very, very good with the mechanical side of pitching. He gets to know these guys' strengths very, very well, and then he sets down a game plan to where their strengths can be applied. And it's always easy to say to a guy like Noah, hey, look, these guys are dead fastball hitters. Well, he's a fastball pitcher. So you still got to make pitches, and I think that's where Dan's, his application is. Look, let's use your fastball in this location, and then we'll use some off-speed stuff. But we're not going to get away from using your fastball. So I think he does a great job on both sides. Easy read when the game's going on. If he starts to see them change arm angle or release points or whatever, he addresses it immediately. Before each inning, it's about how we're going to get the leadoff hitter out. As we all know, that's a big out in any inning. So he does an outstanding job, and I'll tell you what, our pitchers really rely on him.
And over here to the left.
Terry, you guys are in such a good spot right now, up 2-0 with obviously deGrom going in Game 3. What have you seen from your team this year, though, that makes you confident they won't get too far ahead of themselves?
Well, that's exactly what they do. They don't get too far ahead of themselves. And I think that's why we've been as resilient as we have. When we've had an ugly game or we've lost 3 or 4 in a row, we don't get caught up in anything except for the next game. and it be it tonight or tomorrow or anything else. So, they are certainly aware that, we're coming to a different park. The Cubs play very well here. We haven't won a game here in 2 years, so we understand that it's going to be certainly a different atmosphere. And but I don't think they get caught up in anything except trying to do what they do best, and that's go out and play the game right.
And right here in front.
Are you considering or even committed to Kelly Johnson at second base and Murph at first base, or you're not there yet and you want to stick with Lucas for a little bit longer?
I haven't written the lineup yet for tomorrow, Adam. I haven't even visited. I haven't looked. I mean, we just found out yesterday afternoon that it was going to be Hendricks, and I haven't even looked at, what the fit's going to be. So.
And over here to the left front.
Terry, when you look at the pitching staff and you know how talented they are, did you expect them to be as comfortable as they've been, or is this a little bit surprising just that they've handled the big spot so well?
No, I was pretty comfortable they were going to handle it. I think these guys have tremendous confidence in themselves and their abilities. They know what they have to do to get outs, and they just go out and try to apply it. And I think the big stage helps. I think there's a little bit more intensity involved, so a little bit more focus involved. So I think that helps a little bit also. But when if you believe in your stuff and trust your stuff, and your stuff's as good as theirs, you're gonna pitch fine.
And right here in front again to the left.
Terry, kind of along those same lines. I mean, these guys have all pitched more than they ever have before in their lives getting to this point. Why isn't there more of a fatigue factor for that? How can they maintain this all the way through? Is there any concern for you guys as a staff that could happen?
Well, David, I mean, this has been the online question we've been talking about all summer long. We had those innings limits put on. They were put, Sandy and I talked about them in March. And so as we got into the season, we could have certainly, when we talked about not having Matt Harvey pitch in April, that was a discussion. I'm the one who said, I don't think I can do that to this kid who's worked so hard to get back. He was ready to pitch last September. And so during the conversation was, well, how are we going to manage the innings limit, this load? And so we said, well, we'll cut them back during the season. So there was plenty of nights where they could have gone one or two more innings, and we didn't let them. So I'm looking at now. Are they over the limits? Yes. But I think the rest that we've tried to allow them to have, pushing them back, watching the pitch counts during games, I think it all adds up. And then the intensity level and the adrenaline on this stage, you're just not as tired as you think you are. And I think a lot of that is added into the fact that we've tried to keep them rested, and I think it's worked out.
And all the way in the back left.
Terry, in looking back at deGrom's 2 starts against the Cubs this year, and I realize this is going back a few months, can you pinpoint the reasons why he wasn't as effective as usual and any adjustments he needs to make?
Well, first of all, the Cubs have a very good offensive club. And if you make mistakes, and Jake ran through a period where the ball was coming up in the strike zone. He was, he got to the major leagues with pitching down with 2-seam fastballs and getting ground balls, and all of a sudden that sinker was gone. It was gone for quite a while. And these guys, if this ball straightens out, the one thing we know about the Cubs, they're going to do some damage on fastballs. I don't care how hard you throw it. And he got beat, giving up the long ball. So. And that was something that he didn't do last year. He didn't give up home runs a lot last year, and this year he has. So, and that was, I'm sure, part of the damage. And what we've got to do is we've got to be able to, keep the ball down in the zone, let the ball move which is what has been his strength. And if you can get ahead, and then maybe change the eye level once in a while. But if you're going to keep pounding 96-mile-an-hour heaters, let her high, they're going to do some damage on you.
And over here to the left.
Terry, just what's the confidence? Obviously, deGrom, you lined him up against the Dodgers in Game 1 and 5 for a reason. I mean, here you are 2-0, and you got him going in Game 3. Just what confidence does that give the team?
Well, he's a good pitcher. He's a very, very good pitcher. So we have a lot of confidence. And any night he pitches that we've got a good chance to win. But, again, it's all about, look, you still have to locate. You still got to make pitches. You just don't walk out on the mound. And, again, at this time of year, which, the question was just asked about, is there a fatigue factor? There may be. This is Jake's 3rd game now, and on the big stage in a short period of time. So we're going to certainly hope that he's 100% ready and that he's locating the way we know he can. And if he does, he's going to get people out. This stuff's that quality. He's going to get outs.
And here in front, center.
Terry, the few times the Cubs squared up balls in the first two games, a couple of them were hit right at your defenders. It's kind of an overlooked thing this time of year, but how impressive have you been with your advance work in terms of setting up this positioning, and how important is it this time of year, just those few feet left or right when it comes to positioning your defense?
Well, again, that goes back to both teams. That people are criticizing the offensive side of the, hey, look, you're not hitting. Well, the Cubs have had some people in the right spots too. So, but it's all about the work that our advanced scouts have done. Tim Tuffle is absolutely spends hours putting together a defensive lineman on different guys, depending on who's pitching, depending on situations and what the counts may be. He works very hard at that, and it pays off. All that stuff pays off, and there's going to be that time when, there's going to, which we've had this summer, where a ball is hit, where if you were just in the normal, you'd be there. But you're not. You're using all of these statistics to say, hey, look, we got to move this guy over 4 or 5 feet because that's the percentages that are in our advantage. And if the hitter does something, again, I'm sure it's not intentional, or guys to be hitting 500. But hey, look, if they hit it over here, nothing you can do except tip your hat. But you've got to go with, what all these numbers dictate gives you the best chance of having success. And our advanced scouts have done a good job helping us.
And all the way to the far left, Jason.
Terry, the two deGrom starts in the last round were both really impressive, but in kind of in different ways, one in which he had his best stuff, the other one in which he didn't. Which of those two was more impressive to you, and which one kind of told you more about who this guy is and where he's going?
Well, I think the second one, obviously. When you go out on the mound and you do not have your normal repertoire of pitches that are working, you've got to work hard. And a lot of guys will just throw their hands up and say, geez, I didn't have it tonight. And it takes that special guy to say, I'm still getting through this game. I'm going to make the pitch I have to make. And that's what he did. I mean, it was unbelievable how many times he was one pitch away from coming to that game, and he made the pitch he had to make. And that tells you exactly the kind of kid he is, that his competition level is, without a question, as good as anybody. So he's not going to give in. And that, I looked at Zach Greinke. You sit on the side and watch Zach Greinke. He never gives in. And that's what Jake didn't do the other night. Even though his location wasn't there and his stuff wasn't there, he just never gave in. He kept trying to make the pitch, and when he had to, he made the pitch.
And again to the far left.
Jerry, with the 2-game lead, do you wonder if the team realizes not to take its foot off the gas, not to let the Cubs back in if you don't have to?
Do we realize that?
Yeah.
Yes, very well. Very much so. We, once again, Mike, these guys, the minute you think they're naive enough to think this is over, you're making a big mistake. They know exactly what they're facing. We've come in here a lot of games and had big, very well-played games in here in Wrigley Field and gotten beat. So we are certainly aware that we've got to continue to push forward. We know we got to swing better here. This is a park where hitting's huge. I mean, you got to hit to win games here. So we've got to get ourselves going offensively and not worry about anything except winning tomorrow night.
And 2 last ones right here in front.
I know the preference was to get Mattson over the weekend, and it didn't happen. So would he probably throw a bullpen session today? And are you concerned about the gap between his starts of late and how that might affect his performance?
Adam, he's not going to throw today. He got up twice last night and threw 40 pitches in the bullpen. So he's not going to throw today. I mean, he's going to pitch in 2 days. So we have a little. He's already been out throwing. They have that little thing where they just go through the mechanical side of stuff. He probably did that today, but I don't think he threw a full-fledged bullpen by any means. And no, I'm not concerned about the fact that it's been a while between times he's gone out there. It just seems like the way it's gone at the end of the year for him, he's had to do that each and every time, and he's limited the damage. I mean, he's gone out and pitched pretty well. Now, Steven Mattson, when it comes to Game 4, it all depends what Game 3 dictates. We've still got backup guys, and now we got to look at Game 5. Who's going to pitch Game 5? We don't know yet. So, there's a lot of dynamics going to go into it, but that's why, and I know you guys think this is all etched in stone 5 days ago, and it's not. It'll be decided each and every day who we have available, what's our best chance to win, who we need to put in win, and right now. But I think I have all the confidence in the world that Steven Matz is going to pitch a good game.
And left center.
Yeah, hi, Terry. I was wondering, what about managerial fatigue? What do you do? Is your mind at this time of the year going 24/7 on this? Or
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
There's no time.
Sleep's the enemy right now.
How much do you sleep?
Not very much. Not too much. For the same things, there's something that's always going to crop in. Be it you need to make a lineup change, you need to move the lineup around. All right, geez, Matt Harvey's arm swelled up. Who would we pitch? And how's he done in this park? And how's he done against this lineup? And so those things are always there, and unfortunately, they stick with you. The conversation level with my wife has gone downhill. So, there's too many other things that take place right now. For me, that's just me.
Okay, thank you, Terry.
Okay.